When the clock strikes 3, do whispers in the dark call out to you? Welcome to Shady's Night Terrors, where every night we delve into stories that stalk the dark corners of your mind. Join us as we explore chilling tales that make the bravest hearts quiver and the boldest eyes shut tight. Don't just listen, experience the spine-tingling, the eerie, the downright terrifying. Dare to be our guest tonight? Whisper. Then let the nightmares begin. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more nightmarish tales.
Meet Thomas, a man blind since birth, whose life takes a terrifying turn when a strange, rancid smell leads him into a nightmarish reality. With his loyal guide dog, Max, by his side, Thomas's routine existence shatters, plunging him into a world where the line between the organic and mechanical blurs. As he stumbles through this grotesque environment, facing malevolent presences and unimaginable horrors, Thomas's struggle for survival becomes a chilling journey. Will he escape this twisted reality, or has the nightmare followed him back to the real world? Join us as we delve into this spine-tingling story, exploring the depths of fear and resilience. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more terrifying tales. Let's get started. The Forgotten Path, a darker tale. In a small, bustling city, Thomas lived a life marked by routine and order. Blind since birth, he had adapted remarkably well, navigating his world with the help of his loyal guide dog, Max. Every day, he followed a strict schedule to maintain his independence. This morning was no different. Thomas woke up to the sound of his alarm, reached over to silence it, and swung his legs out of bed. He made his way to the bathroom, guided by muscle memory and Max's gentle nudges. After showering and dressing, he prepared to leave for the store to pick up his essentials. As he moved through his apartment, he began to notice a strange smell, something rancid and putrid, like decay mixed with rot. He paused, sniffing the air, but couldn't pinpoint the source. Max whined softly, seemingly disturbed by the scent as well. "Must be something outside," Thomas muttered, giving Max a reassuring pat. With his cane in one hand and Max's harness in the other, Thomas stepped out into the city. The familiar sounds of bustling traffic and chattering pedestrians enveloped him. Yet, the acrid smell persisted, clinging to his senses like a bad memory. As they walked, Thomas's anxiety grew. He kept wondering if he had stepped in something or if there was a problem with the city's sewer system. He even patted his clothes to check if he had somehow carried the foul odor with him, but everything seemed normal. Despite the growing discomfort, Thomas continued on his path to the store. The city sounds, usually a comforting cacophony of life, began to fade away, replaced by an unnerving silence. Thomas stopped and turned his head, trying to listen. The distant hum of traffic and voices had vanished, leaving an eerie, oppressive quiet. "Max?" he called out, his voice trembling slightly. The dog whimpered again, tugging at the leash. Thomas felt Max's unease through the tension in the harness. The silence was soon broken by a new sound, mechanical grinding and whirring like rusted gears turning. Thomas's heart pounded in his chest. He had taken this route countless times and never encountered anything like this. The ground beneath his feet started to change, becoming soft and yielding, almost fleshy. Thomas's cane sank into the ground with a sickening squelch. Panic surged through him, and he tried to retrace his steps, but the familiar path was gone. Max whimpered louder and, without warning, pulled free from Thomas's grasp and bolted into the unknown. "Max! Max, come back!" Thomas shouted, but the dog's whimpering quickly faded into the distance, leaving him utterly alone. Thomas stood frozen, his mind racing. He extended his cane, feeling around him. The textures were wrong. Everything felt wrong. His cane brushed against something slick and warm, and as he reached out to touch it, his hand recoiled in horror. The surface was fleshy, pulsing as if it were alive. He stumbled forward, his hands brushing against more of the strange, fleshy surfaces. Interspersed with the organic material were cold, metallic objects, greasy and sharp-edged, like parts of some grotesque machine. Thomas's breaths came in short, panicked gasps as he struggled to make sense of his surroundings. The smell of decay grew stronger, almost overpowering. Thomas gagged, fighting the urge to vomit. He tried to calm himself, to think rationally. "This isn't real," he whispered, but the sickening texture beneath his feet and the metallic clanking all around him said otherwise. Thomas continued to stumble through the nightmarish landscape, each step revealing more of the macabre environment. He felt his way along walls that seemed to breathe, their surfaces slick with what felt like blood. The mechanical noises grew louder, more frantic, as if the place itself was alive and reacting to his presence. In his desperation, Thomas called out again, "Help! Someone, please!" But his voice was swallowed by the oppressive darkness and the relentless grinding of the unseen machines. Just when he thought he couldn't bear it any longer, Thomas's foot struck something solid. He reached down and felt a cold metal grate. He dropped to his knees, his hands searching for a way out. The grate was bolted shut, unyielding under his fingers. Despair washed over him as he realized he was trapped. He sat back on his heels, his mind racing. Was this some twisted hallucination? A cruel prank? Or had he somehow stepped into another reality, one where the boundaries between flesh and machine were blurred? The grinding noise grew deafening, and Thomas felt a presence behind him, cold and malevolent. He didn't dare turn around, fearing what he might encounter. Instead, he closed his eyes, tears streaming down his face, and prayed for a way out. In the depths of his terror, Thomas remembered the reassuring touch of Max, the warmth of his apartment, and the bustling sounds of the city. He clung to those memories, hoping against hope that he would wake from this nightmare. But the darkness pressed in, and the smell of decay suffocated him. The presence behind him grew closer, a whisper of cold breath against his neck. And then, everything went silent. The grinding, the whirling, the oppressive smells all vanished. Thomas felt solid ground beneath him, the familiar texture of concrete. Hesitantly, he reached out and felt the rough bark of a tree, the cool breeze of the city night air on his face. He opened his eyes, but saw only darkness as always. The nightmare had ended, but the terror remained. Max was gone, and Thomas was alone in the city that suddenly felt unfamiliar and hostile. As he made his way back home, Thomas couldn't shake the feeling that the nightmare was not over, that somewhere, just out of reach, the twisted, fleshy landscape and the malevolent presence were waiting, watching, ready to pull him back into the darkness. But this time, when he returned to his apartment, it was not the same. The walls seemed to pulse with a life of their own, and the air was thick with the stench of decay. Thomas realized with a jolt that he had not escaped the nightmare. He had brought it back with him. The nightmare had taken root in his reality, and there was no escaping it. Thomas was trapped in a world where the line between the organic and the mechanical had blurred, where darkness and decay reigned supreme. As he huddled in the corner of his apartment, surrounded by the malevolent presence that had followed him from the other world, Thomas knew that he would never be free. The nightmare had become his reality, and there was no waking up from it. In the end, Thomas was left to wander the twisted, fleshy corridors of his own mind, forever haunted by the horrors he had encountered on the forgotten path. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the forgotten path, a darker tale. We hope you found Thomas's story as chilling and captivating as we did. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the darkness, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more spine-tingling tales and thrilling adventures. Hit the bell icon to stay updated with our latest content. Leave a comment below with your thoughts on the story and let us know what you want to hear next. Until then, stay curious, stay brave, and keep exploring the shadows with us. See you in the next video.